So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's lecture. In the previous lecture, I think we had done motion in a straight line. We had seen problems of car, buses, and everything which was moving on the horizontal ground. That was motion along x-axis. Now, as the heading suggests, we would be moving into the next heading, which is known as motion under gravity. What do you mean by motion under gravity? Any motion that is taking place under the influence of Earth's gravity, the gravitational force of Earth is known as motion under gravity. Now, there is one very peculiar thing that you must remember about motion under gravity, and which is whenever motion is taking place under gravity, the acceleration we take is fixed, and that acceleration is known as, what is that acceleration known as? When the motion is taking place under gravity because of Earth's gravitational push, the acceleration it produces is known as
Acceleration due to gravity.
acceleration due to gravity, and that is taken as g. Acceleration due to gravity, that is taken as g, and this g is always taken as vertically downwards, and the value of g is also taken as fixed, that is taken as 9.8 meter per second square, or in some cases, just to make calculation simple, it is taken as 10 meter per second square. So that is the first thing and the most important thing that you have to remember, that whenever we talk about motion under gravity, we will talk it about here, and we'll also talk it about in the next topic, which is motion in two dimension. We'll also have motion under gravity in that chapter. Wherever we use the term motion under gravity, the value of acceleration due to gravity will always be constant. Do we understand this? It will be going downwards, and it will be equal to 9.8 or 10, depending on how the question is framed. Now, if we talk about what are the equations for motion under gravity, what are the equations for motion under gravity? So what are the equations for motion under gravity? I will not be writing the vector equation because we may not use it. We will write the scalar equation that we always use. So what are the equations of motion for this particular motion? What is the first equation? Tell me. What do you think is the first equation in this case of motion under gravity? The first equation is V is equal to U plus AT. The equation does not change because this is a motion with constant acceleration. The only thing that we must remember and understand is the value of this acceleration is known to us. And how much is this acceleration? This acceleration is equal to g, and g is always downwards. And remember, we always use a sign convention with these formulae, and the sign convention we are going to use is upwards is positive and downwards is negative. Do we remember this sign convention? Upwards positive, downwards negative. Therefore, the value of g will always be taken as negative, no matter the ball is thrown up, no matter the ball is coming down. The value of g, according to us, because it is always downwards, is always going to be negative. Do we understand this? The second equation that you can write is delta r, displacement. Now this displacement, since we are talking about height, things are going to move like this. You can also write it as h. You can also write it as delta r. You can also write it as y, whatever you feel like. Just remember that this is displacement. What will be the equation for displacement or h, height? What will be the equation for this second equation?
ut plus half at square.
The only thing you must remember in that equation is what? The only thing that we know in this equation is what? the value of A is equal to G, because it is known to us. It is always downwards and it is always taken as negative. Do we understand this? Third equation. Tell me the third one. Third one.
V square is equals to U square plus 2A delta R.
V square is equal to U square plus 2 times A into delta R instead of delta R. You can also write H. The only thing you must remember here is that A is same. A is same. And A is always equal to G. And G is always downwards. We know this. The fourth equation is the equation of displacement in the nth second. Or you can also write it as height covered in the nth second. And the formula would be
U plus A by 2 of 2N minus 1.
U plus A by 2 times 2N minus 1. What you have to remember here? That
A,
this
sir.
A is same as this and this is same as this. So if you remember these things, life is going to be as simple as it is supposed to be. Do we understand this? I will give you a minute to go through this, and quickly we will move on to some more information and some more things that you have to remember. 2 minutes you have. Note it down. I don't think you will need 2 minutes because these formulas are already known to you. Yes or no? No, yes. You should not take much time and you should be ready. Have you noted it down, beta? Then we will do this in two different cases. The first case is, which is more commonly coming these days, is that a body is dropped from some height. So basically this question would be like, from the top of a tower, a body is dropped. From the top of a mountain, a body is dropped. What happens in this case? What do you mean by the body is dropped? What do you understand by the term body is dropped? This term body is dropped tells us something about its initial velocity. Body is dropped tells us something about its initial velocity. What does it tell you about its initial velocity? A body is dropped from some height. What does it tell you about the initial velocity?
Initial velocity is equal to 0.
Initial velocity is equal to 0. Let me again ask the question in a different way. I am going up in a balloon. The balloon is going up. And now I drop a stone from the balloon. Now I drop a stone from the balloon. What is the initial velocity of that stone that I have dropped? If I'm standing on the top of a tower and I drop a stone, the initial velocity is 0. Yes, very correct. Change the case. I am moving in a balloon and then the balloon is going up with a velocity u. And then I drop a stone from the balloon. Can you tell me what is the initial velocity of the stone that I have dropped?
0, sir.
No, sir, it is not 0. Think again. Anyone else with a different answer? Imagine you are sitting in a train and the train is moving forward and you drop a stone. Where does the stone fall? Exactly at the same place, or does it fall forwards?
Other place.
Other place. Why? Because when you are moving in a train, the stone also has the same velocity as the train. Yes or no? And you drop that stone, it has the same velocity as the train. Therefore, it will move forward when it is getting dropped. Similarly, when you are sitting in a balloon and you drop a stone from a balloon, what is the initial velocity of the stone? The initial velocity of the stone would be same as the balloon. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
So there are two cases. This is case number one. If it is dropped from a tower, I am not moving, its initial velocity is going to be 0. Do we understand this? So initial velocity in this case is going to be 0. Oops. Initial velocity is going to be 0. What about acceleration of this block? What is the acceleration of this stone? What is the acceleration of this stone that I have dropped? A
Gravitational
ball.
force.
Yes?
Gravitational force.
Gravitational force is a force, it is not acceleration. Again, tell me the right word. If you don't use the right word, you don't understand the thing. What is the acceleration? What is the acceleration of this ball or the stone that I have dropped? Tell me, fatafat.
Minus G.
Minus g is the acceleration. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Okay. This building has a height h. Do we understand this? This building has a height h. So what are things are known to you? The first thing that is known to you is that u is 0. Do we understand this? The second thing that you know is that acceleration is equal to minus g. Yes or no? And the third thing that you know is the height h. These are the three things that you know. What are the things that you don't know? What are the things that you don't know?
Time.
Time. How much time it takes to fall? You don't know. Question mark. Anything else?
Final velocities.
Final velocity. Remember, sometimes when you think about final velocity, you will say, sir, final velocity is 0. No, dear, it is not 0. When it falls on the ground, because of the impact, the velocity changes. When I say final velocity, this is the velocity just before the ground. Do we understand this? So it is not 0. Do we understand this? So there are two things that has to be found out here. Normally, one is time and the other one is time and the other one is final velocity. Do we understand this? Okay, so the known things are in pink, the unknown things are in green. Now, how do we solve this? So we will apply the first equation. What is the first equation? Tell me.
V is equal to U plus AT.
V is equal to U plus AT. So I apply it. V is equal to U plus AT. Now, let us put what we know here in this equation. U is, an acceleration is equal to
Minus G.
minus g. So my v becomes minus gt. Do we understand this? Do we understand this? What does this negative sign indicate? That v,
Downwards.
yes, that v, the final velocity is downwards, and therefore you are getting the minus sign. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
So v will be negative. G is already negative. So if I have to make a formula for time here, how much time it takes? How much time it takes? I can write the formula V by G in their absolute values. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This is the formula number 1 that is here. Do we understand this? This is the formula that we have here.
Sir,
Yes,
what
beta.
about the minus, sir?
Minus sign, as I told you, V is negative, G is negative. So I have neglected the minus sign, and that is how you get the formula. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Negative sign only indicates the direction of velocity. We understand this? Okay. Let us put the second formula and see what do you get from the second formula. What was the second formula?
Delta R is equals to UT plus 1 by 2 AT square.
The displacement. How much is the displacement? This body moves from the topmost point A to the bottommost point B. How much is the displacement? Moves from A to B. How much is the displacement?
Yes, sir.
H, sir.
With proper sign, tell me, how much is the displacement? Minus H, yes or no? Displacement is minus H, downward, yes or no? That is how you use sign convention. Minus H is equal to UT, U is 0, plus half AT square. Acceleration is minus G, yes or no? Into T square. Now, this negative sign gets cancelled and you get one more value of time. You must remember all these shortcuts, because if you remember these shortcuts, you will be able to do any questions quicker than your fellow people. And that is what that gives you an edge. So this is the second formula that has come here. So there are two formulae for time. This formula number 1 would be rarely used because we don't know normally the final velocity. So this formula would be rarely used. This formula which we have derived, number 2, will be more frequently used because we know the height and we know acceleration due to gravity. Do we understand this? Anyone understands this? Yes or no? So remember, whatever formulae we are getting, they have not come from heaven. They are derived from equation number 1, 2. We have not put equation number 3. Let us put equation number 3 and see what equation number 3 does. What is equation number 3? V square is equal to
U square plus 2A delta R.
2A delta R, displacement. Let us put the values now. V square is V square. U square is 0. Do we understand this? 2 times A. 2 times A is minus G. Displacement is minus H. Do we understand, my dear friends? So we get V square is equal to 2GH. We get this formula. V square is equal to 2GH, or I can write, my dear friends, V is equal to root over 2GH. Do you see this formula in the formula sheet? This is that formula in the formula sheet. Everyone recollects it now. Yes or no? No, yes. Again, this formula does not come from heaven. It has been derived using the equations. Yes or no? No, yes. The same formula, you can write it in a different way. As you can see, V square is 2GH. You can write H in terms of V. This formula will not be used many times, but you can remember this formula. So then the formula becomes H is equal to V square by 2G. If you can remember all these formulas, the formulae that we have created in the blocks, all those formulas that we have created in the box, if you can remember those formulae, those are going to help you solve questions very, very easily, quickly. And remember, JEE, as I always keep on telling you, a test, not for your knowledge. It's a test of your speed, how quickly you can do a problem. If you can do it quicker than the others, that 1 second or even 5 seconds or 10 seconds that you gain, that will give you a winning edge over your fellow competitors. Do you understand this, my dear friends? Simple formulae. The more you use them at first, they might look a bit difficult for you to remember, but if you use them frequently, you should be able to remember most of the formulae by heart. I'll give you 1 minute to note down the formula and then we will move on to some question.
Done, sir.
Everyone has noted it down? Everybody noted down the formula? Okay. Let us go and solve some questions, one or two, so that these formulae become a part of your memory. So, right. The first question number 1, a stone is dropped from a height of 20 meters. Find the time taken and final velocity when it touches the ground. When it touches the ground, that means just before touching the ground, okay? But the question will be like this: when it touches the ground. When you find out the velocity just before touching the ground, but the question would be like this: and how much time it takes to fall?
Time 2, sir.
Time 2, well done. What about the other one?
Velocity 20.
Velocity 20, time 2. Everyone understands this? Let us wait for all of you to get the answers and get accustomed with the question. So how to do this? You can straight away, don't have to write the equations. The question is a straightforward one. You can straightforward apply the formula. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Time it takes to fall is root over 2h by g. Yes or no? Take g as 10. So it becomes root over 2 into 20 divided by 10, and your answer is root over 4. Root over 4 is 2. Yes or no? To find the velocity, you can write v as root over 2gh. Again, put the formula root over 2 into g is 10 into height is 10, height is 20, sorry. Root over 400, root over 400 is 20 meters, and you have your answers. Do we understand this? Everyone got the answer? This is just for you to get acquainted with the formula and how quickly you can get an answer with that formula. Everybody noted this down? Shall I bring the next question away?
Yes, sir.
So this is question number 2, and I hope that I get an answer quickly. A body falls from rest in the gravitational field of Earth. The distance traveled in the 5th second is. I'll give you 1 minute. Yes, beta. Did you get the answer?
$90, sir.
How did you get it? You can apply the formula height in the nth second or displacement in the nth second. The formula is u by u is 0, a by 2 times 2n minus 1. Yes or no? Acceleration is minus g minus 10 by 2 into 2 into 5 minus 1. And what is the answer you get? That is the correct answer. How much are you getting? How much are we getting, bacha? Minus 45. Why are we getting minus 45? What does this negative sign indicate?
Direction downwards.
Yes, the displacement is downwards. That is why you are getting the minus sign. Do we understand this? Yes or no? How did you get 90? What about this 2? Forgotten this 2? That is why it is always suggested that you always solve the questions on your own and do not make a mistake in the examination hall. Do we understand this? I'll give you 1 minute to note it down. Have you noted it down, everyone? Can I give you the next one? This is the next one. A body freely falling from rest has a velocity v after it falls down a height h. The distance it has to fall down for its velocity to become double. When it falls down a distance h, the velocity that it has is v. Now I want the velocity to become double. How much it has to fall down? Give you 1 minute to do this. Two h, 4h, 6h, 8h. Anyone? Can I help you? Remember, not all the questions would be straight that you can put the formula and get the answer. But you must remember the equation still remains same. A body falling freely from rest. So what you can
Sir,
say
answer
about
A.
answer A, 2h. Okay, let us see what we get. A body falling freely from rest. What you can say about the initial velocity?
0, sir.
Initial velocity is 0. Okay, then I apply which formula? It has a velocity v after falling through a height h. U is given, v and h are given. Which formula should I apply? V square is equal to u square plus 2a into delta r. U is 0. So v square becomes equal to 2gh. That is equation number 1. Do we understand equation number 1? Everyone? Okay. So this is what is given to you. Initial velocity is 0 and it falls through a height h. The final velocity is v. This is the relation between v and h. What is the second thing asked? The distance it has to fall for the velocity to become double. So now the case is initial velocity is still 0, yes or no? But the final velocity is 2v. Do we understand this? Vf, let me write it as Vf. Final velocity is 2v. Now I apply the same equation. Final velocity we need is 2v. So 2v square is equal to 2 times g. Let us call that distance as y because it is along y-axis. Now what do? I find out 2 times gy is equal to 4v square. Yes or no? Now I can put the value of v square from equation number 1 in equation number 2, and I will not do it because you will do it for me, and you will tell me what is the value of y, because that is the value of y that is required, how much distance it has to fall, total distance, how much it has to fall. Tell me what is the value of y that you are getting. Are you getting any values, bacha? You can also divide equation number 2 by 1 or 1 by 2. No matter how you do it. What is the answer? Option 2, that is correct. 4h is what you will get. I will not show you how to get it because you have to get it on your own. And the answer is B. Do we understand this, everyone? How many of you got the answer? Please raise your hands. What about the others? What is the problem? Please tell me. Okay, I see a lot of hands. Well done. Can I give you the next one? And here comes the next one, and I'm hoping to get a quick answer from you. This question has come multiple times in many exams, including JEE, state PETs, PMTs, lot of times, and it's a very pet question. This is the question. It looks like a stone is dropped from the top of a tower. It touches the ground in 4 seconds. What is the height of the tower? What is the height of the tower?
Eighty meters, sir.
The height of the tower is 80 meters. How did you get it, bacha?
Minus h is equals to 1 by 2 gt square.
No, minus h is not minus, is 1 by 2 gt
40.
square.
B.
The formula is minus h is equal to minus half gt square. So both the minus will get cancelled out. Yes or no? Okay. So both the minus cancel out. You just put the values, get the answer, and stay happy. And what is the answer that you are going to get? 16 into 5. And 16 into 5 is 80. 80 meters. Do we understand this? Yes or no, everyone? How many of you got this? Only 3 people? What about the others? It was dropped. Initial velocity was 0. I just put the formula. S is equal to ut plus half at square. Height is, it is falling down. Therefore, the displacement is negative. G is always negative. Both negatives cancel out. And we have the answer of 80 meters. Yes or no? No, yes. Can I move on to the next question, please? Everyone is there with me? Yes or no? Let's see who solves this one.
1 minute, sir.
Okay, note it down. Take your time. and I will see who does this one. Question number 4 or 5, whatever it is. Noted it? So remember, if the question is direct, you can just put the shortcuts that we have created. If the question is not direct, remember, if the body is dropped from the top of a tower, U is 0. Remember that. Shall we move on to the next question? Yes or no? Here comes the next one. A particle is dropped from under gravity from rest from some height h. So height h is not known. In fact, this is what you have to calculate. G is given as 9.8, so you take it 9.8. It travels a distance 9h by 25 in the last second. What is the height of the tower? Sometimes a question is not given straight away, it is given in some roundabout way. Let's see if you can do this. 2 minutes. Okay. Anyone got any idea how to solve this? Shall I do it for you? Okay, so how do we go about this? I draw a tower whose height is h, top point is a, bottom point is b. The height of this tower is given as h. It travels n 6h by 25 in the last second. Now there are a couple of ways in which you can do this. Let us try to understand one thing and then probably we will go ahead with this. Now, whenever I talk about, let us say this is point A and this is point B, I am trying to make you understand in simple language. How do you get this formula of displacement in the nth second? For example, if I have to find out what is the displacement in the 5th second. Now let us assume that the particle is here and the time from here to here is 4 seconds. And after 5 seconds, the particle reaches here. The time from here to here is 5 seconds. Now, whenever someone asks me what is the displacement in the 5th second, what do I need to find out is this. This is the displacement in the 5th second. Do we understand this, bacha? Do we understand this? Yes or no? And the formula that we get. So how do I get this displacement in the 5th second? So this is the formula that we make. Displacement in the nth second will be equal to, I should write nth so that we don't confuse it. Displacement in the nth second will be equal to displacement in n seconds minus displacement in n minus 1 seconds. For example, displacement in the 5th second will be total displacement in 5 seconds minus displacement in 4 seconds. Do we understand this? Displacement in 3rd second will be displacement in 3 seconds minus displacement in 2 seconds. Do we understand this? Everyone? Displacement in 4th second would be displacement after 4 seconds minus displacement after 3 seconds. Do we understand this? Everyone? And when I put the values, I will get this answer, u plus a by 2 times 2n minus 1. When I put the formula for displacement in n seconds, when I put the formula for displacement in n minus 1 seconds, this is the formula I get for displacement in the nth second. Do we understand this, everyone? Will you remember this? This is how that formula is derived. Displacement in the nth second is displacement in n seconds minus displacement in n minus 1 second. And once you put the values, the answer that you get finally looks like this. Do we understand this? Everyone understands this? Yes or no? No or yes? Shall we move ahead here? Okay, let us now talk about this question. What is given in this question? Let us assume that it takes, what has happened here? God knows. Let us assume that it takes n seconds to fall down. It takes n seconds to fall down. In n minus 1, it would be here. Do we understand this? And this would be the displacement in the nth second. Do we understand this? The green one is the displacement in the nth second. This displacement in the nth second is given as, oops, wrong color. The displacement in the nth second is given as 9h by 25. Do we see this? That's it. That solves our purpose. How does it solve our purpose? Because now we know what is the displacement in n minus 1 seconds. We also know what is the displacement in n seconds. We can subtract both and we will get our answers. So how do we go about it? I will just write it here. Okay, displacement in n seconds. How much is the displacement in n seconds? It is given as minus h, yes or no? Total displacement is there in n seconds. Minus h will be equal to minus half g into n square. Yes or no? Okay. Now see, this distance is 9h by 25. The total distance is h. So you can find out how much is this value. Total is h. This must is 9h minus 25. So how much is the remaining part, bacha? How much is the remaining part? Total is h. Last part, last second is 9h by 25. How much is the rest? So it will be h minus 9h by 25. Yes or no? So this part will be equal to 16h by 25. You agree? Please raise your hands. Do you agree? Please raise your hands.
Once again explain.
What did you don't understand? Which part? Total height is h. Do we understand this? In the green part is 9h by 25. So how much is the pink part? How much will be the pink part? Tell me. Total is h. Green part is 9h by 25. So how much is the pink part? Do we understand this? Do we understand this?
Sir, once again, see, sir.
What you don't understand? Tell me, na beta. Which part did you don't understand? The equation part or this diagram part?
After formula, sir.
How did you get 16h by 25? You don't understand it?
Sir.
Okay, help me out here. This height is h. Okay. This much height is 9h by 25. Do we understand this much from the question?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me how much is this height, beta?
H minus 9h by 25.
How much is that?
16h by 25.
Do we understand it?
Yes, sir.
That's it. Nothing else. Yes or no? Pakka? Shall we go ahead? So, I have one equation for height h. That is the displacement in n seconds. I make other equation minus, oh, I written 9h. I should have written minus 16h by 25 is equal to minus half into g into n minus 1 square. This is the equation for n minus 1 second. So now I have two equations and I will write the two equations again here. For this part, the equation is minus 16h by 25 is equal to minus half g into n minus 1 square. Do we understand this equation? This is the displacement in n minus 1 seconds. Do we understand this? Then I have one equation for this part, minus h is equal to minus half g into n square. From here, from these two equations, you have to calculate the value of h. Can you calculate the value of h from these two equations? This minus sign goes away, this minus sign goes away. You have to calculate the value of h from these equations. I will give you this as a home task because this is purely maths, how you do it. Think about it, how you are going to calculate the value of h from these two equations. Do we understand these two equations? Everyone, please raise your hands that we understand these two equations. Did you understand how you got h, how you got 9h by 25 and how you got 16h by 25? So solve these equations and we'll get back with the same question with the answer in the next class. Okay? If you have any doubts, you can always come up to me. Bye-bye. Have you noted down this? Everyone? Great. Take care. I'll see you in the next class.